All right, guys, today it's all about Guerlain. I'm going to go over every single Guerlain fragrance that I have for you on camera without editing, without titles, without photos. I'm just going to basically talk about the different Guerlain fragrances. And I have a feeling there's over 50 fragrances here, so this is going to be a long video. If you're curious to learn about Guerlain, then this is the video for you, so please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Sebastian, talking to you about the house of Guerlain, Guerlain fragrances. Are you a fan of this house? I guess for me, the very first Guerlain fragrance experience would be the fragrance VETIVER. VETIVER was the very first fragrance I wore in the late 90s, although I had relatives and I believe my dad even had worn VETIVER. He enjoyed it, but I can't specifically remember like I remember other fragrances that he wore. So the first time I wore a fragrance by Guerlain VETIVER, it came in a different bottle. And I don't have that bottle with me, unfortunately. But these are the bottles that I had. Well, here's one that's almost empty. And here is VETIVER Extreme. So these are like the previous bottles of Guerlain's VETIVER. This is what it is now. All of these are pretty empty, as you can see. Gone through quite a bit of VETIVER. But the newest version of VETIVER came out last year. Yeah, came out last year. It's the Parfum. So VETIVER basically is a very fresh, woody, aromatic, spicy take on the note of VETIVER. That's the prominent note. That's why it's called VETIVER. And I don't think Guerlain was the first brand to do a VETIVER fragrance. I believe CARVEN, the house of CARVEN, launched VETIVER before Guerlain. I believe they launched theirs in the 50s. Again, I don't have any notes down to talk to you about the specific dates, but I do remember CARVEN's VETIVER being from the 50s and Guerlain's VETIVER being from the 60s. So like 65, somewhere around there is when Guerlain launched their VETIVER. So if you haven't gotten your nose on VETIVER, I think it's definitely a great scent you need to, check out. It's got citrusy touches for sure, which I forgot to mention. But it is highlighting, God, I remember this smell. The first time I smelled it when I was buying a bottle, and it came in a bottle that was a bit frosty, and it had these ridges or ribbing, but they were wide. It was plain glass and then kind of a frosty ridges that went all around. And it was more of a bottle like this rather than the tall bottles like this. And this smell totally takes me back to the first time I smelled it. In fact, I actually bought my first bottle to wear on my own on a trip to New York City. And it was at that discount store, Century 21. Is that the store? I don't know if that still exists, but it was late 90s, so it's been a while. But yeah, this brings back memories. It's a very classic smell, but I don't think it's like, it doesn't smell old. It does, well, maybe it does smell a bit old, but I find it to be very elegant, very classy, and gentlemanly for sure. This is definitely a masculine fragrance. I'm actually smelling the eau de toilette. The original comes in eau de toilette. The Parfum, I think, is a little better. It's a bit more intense. Slight amber leanings, I think, in the Parfum edition. But let me know if you're a fan of this. If you're a woman, did somebody you know, a male relative, wear this one? Let's smell the Parfum as well and see if we can get a difference between the two. But I'm not going to smell the Extreme. In the Extreme, although I feel like the Extreme, the new Parfum is a bit like the Extreme. It's also interesting here, when I sprayed the Parfum, I definitely noticed a difference in the smell. This is a bit more intense. There's a denseness about it. But I think the VETIVER Parfum is so good. There's a sexy factor about it, which I never found the original to have a sexiness. And I think there's a slight roughness about it that provides that kind of sexy factor with that Parfum edition. So cool. Such a great scent. I get bored of VETIVER. In fact, I'm kind of getting back to enjoying VETIVER, but I've been bored of VETIVER for a while. But those are the two versions of vetiver on the market now from the house of Guerlain. The extreme is not much around. I believe I have a backup bottle of it, but this is how much I have left in this version, the extreme. Let me know if you've worn the extreme. And here's the previous bottle of the eau de toilette. So I don't know why Guerlain decided to do all of their bottles similar to the L'Homme Idéal collection. I guess they decided that was the thing to do, and they ended up doing that, which was kind of a bummer, but happens with brands. They used to have different bottle looks. For example, let's go to this fragrance next. This is Guerlain's L'Instant de Guerlain pour Homme Eau Extrême. So it used to be Eau Extrême. They had the L'Instant de Guerlain pour Homme, which was eau de toilette, which sadly I do not own. But the pour Homme Eau Extrême probably is the actual fragrance that got me to start doing videos on YouTube about fragrances. This is the OG. This is all I have left of the OG. It's so good. So good. And I've mentioned this story many times in videos. I'm going to spray this one. Yeah, I'm going to spray it. But it was a Thanksgiving day. I was invited to a friend's for Thanksgiving. Friends and I went and had cocktails at a bar. Then we got into an Uber. This was like, Uber was brand new. It was started here in San Francisco, and all of them were black cars. And the guy driving the Uber was a Middle Eastern guy, and I could smell the fragrance. And he was mentioning what it was, and I was like, I don't know what that is. So at that time, Uber, you can communicate with drivers, and they had access to your actual phone number. And so, oh God, I could smell this fragrance. It's so good. So he said later he would take a photo of the bottle and send it to me. So I got the photo from that guy. I never was able to buy it because it wasn't selling here in the States. And so I waited to get to France on the next trip because I was traveling at that time. And at that time, I bought a bottle. I was wearing it and loving it. Then I had another bottle. So I went through one bottle. This is all I have left of my second bottle. It's an amazing fragrance. Awesome. So the new version, here it is. Oh, wait, that's a different fragrance. I don't know where my... Okay, well, it looks like I don't have a current version of the L'Homme Idéal, the L'Instant de Guerlain pour Homme Eau Extrême. I may be losing it while I'm shooting this video, but no, I couldn't find that I had bought a bottle, and this is all I have left of the original in this bottle. It has moved to this particular style of bottle now, and it looks like I don't have one. I better buy it because pretty soon I am not going to be able to find some fragrances. And I wanted to also report to you guys, I did a video recently on my favorite notes, and in that video there was the note of benzoin, and I said Bois d'Harmonie is one of my favorite benzoin fragrances, and somebody said it's discontinued. So sure enough, I went to Neiman Marcus and they did say it's discontinued, which is quite the bummer that it's discontinued. I need to find a bottle of it. But this version of L'Instant de Guerlain pour Homme Eau Extrême, I think it kind of comes close to the OG, but there is something a bit missing there. I wish it was present, but it will remind you of it. I think the Eau Extrême had a bit more of a denseness about it, and some of the notes were a little bit more amplified. And I think the difference is kind of like the current version is a bit like, it's not as exciting. It's a bit muted. But I think you can totally experience similarities. But this is a game changer for me. So in the late 90s, it was Amen that really got me into enjoying fragrances, but I went on a burnout mode in the early 2000s and into like the latter part of the 2010s. I was wearing freshies, a lot of freshies, but that fragrance changed the way I appreciate fragrances, got me to rediscover patchouli in fragrances, because L'Instant de Guerlain pour Homme Eau Extrême is a patchouli bomb. It's patchouli, it's cacao, it's star anise, it's citruses. It's so good, so good. If you can find this bottle, get it. In fact, if I can find it, I want to get another one because it's so damn good. So good. It's a bummer I don't have the current version to talk to you guys about. I thought I had bought it. But there's so much fragrances out there, I can't remember everything I bought. So I've pulled everything, well, half of everything, and I've pulled all the men's fragrances, and it doesn't look like I have it here, sadly. Let's talk about the Guerlain Homme series of fragrances. It is in this bottle currently, but here is the OG right here. And you know, there is another fragrance that's missing. So there is a version of this that was focusing on vetiver, and I don't have it here. I think I've run out. On the next batch of fragrances I put on the table, I'll look for it again. But this is Guerlain Homme, not L'Homme Ideal, but Guerlain Homme series. So this is the OG bottle. Obviously, it came in a more wide bottle. The bottle's changed throughout the years. Now it's in this uniform bottle, as you can see right here. So again, if you're not familiar with Guerlain Homme, check it out. It's totally different than L'Homme Ideal. But I think people mention that it's a bit like a mint mojito. It's got a bit of a mintiness. It's quite spicy. I believe it also utilizes vetiver, although it could be the other version that I don't have the bottle of here. But it's a great classy masculine offering. Definitely much more modern than something like vetiver. And there is that bit of a mojito-like effect. I'm not getting it much in this one, and I believe it's in the other. The other version was an eau de toilette, a flanker of this series. But I think this is an underrated fragrance that not many talk about. But this is the OG right here. The OG that I have, again, the bottle's changed. These bottles used to be a bit wider, a little bit more stubbier, but they don't have those bottles anymore, sadly. So let's go to the Heritage Collection. And the Heritage Collection, sadly, I believe the eau de toilette is no longer. So I do have an eau de toilette here. Sadly, I think it is selling in Europe, though. I could be wrong, but somebody mentioned recently in a comment that in their country, in Europe, they don't have the eau de toilette. So we don't have it here in the USA either, but I believe it is on the French website. But the eau de toilette was, I think, my favorite between the two heritages. I've got the eau de parfum here and the eau de toilette. I don't think I have the current bottle, which once again I should get, because definitely one of my favorites, and I've been wanting a parfum of this fragrance. And unfortunately, I asked around at Guerlain, and they said they had no intention to make a parfum, unfortunately. But for me, I like this, that it's a bit more like a amber fougere style. It does have those fougere-like qualities, but there's a lot of warmth under there. There's also a sandal woodiness. So good. Absolutely amazing. Really classy, gentlemanly. And I like that there's patchouli in this once again. I think patchouli was having a moment in the late 80s and early 90s. Something like Balenciaga Pour Homme, the Cartier, Pasha de Cartier had a lot of patchouli in it. The many fragrances had it for the guys. And this has a pretty hefty dose of patchouli, but it's lightened up with the aromatics and spices. So good. I can't believe this eau de toilette is no longer. This is what I have. Do I have another? No, I don't have another. I don't have the large 250 ml bottle. I'm sorry, not a 250 ml. It's a 200 ml. But the eau de toilette is quite good. I'm not going to spray the eau de parfum, which is what exists now. To me, they were both good. But when I tested, I have a video of that on YouTube with Dahlia. You can go catch that video. I did a video because I used to wear that quite a bit, and I always got better performance from the eau de toilette in comparison to the eau de parfum. But Guerlain has decided to only have the eau de parfum available. But let me show you a few vintage bottles, and one of them is a factice. This is what it came in. This bottle is the most gorgeous bottle ever. Absolutely amazing bottle. Look at that. The way the glass is cut, so super fantastic. So this is a factice because I've smelled this. It just smells like alcohol water. But a smaller version of that right here, this is the real juice. This is vintage juice. And I actually bought both of these bottles at a French flea market in the south of France in the city of Cannes. And both of them for 50 euros. I'm a collector, and I put these very nicely packed and brought them back 2 years ago from the south of France. And that's what the bottles were looking like. And these are splash bottles. They're not, you know, sprayable bottles. But I'm not going to use these juices. I'm going to keep them. I love the color of the real juice right here, as you can see. It gets dark, and the older it gets, the darker it gets. Because here, you know, it's light. And I think this is how the factice was. And this factice is not cheap. This is a really heavy-duty glass bottle. Definitely a super sexy bottle. I love the way the glass is cut. It's just awesome. So that's the Heritage collection. Let's talk about the Habit Rouge collection, which seems to be getting a ton of flankers. And of course, I showed you this. This is the Eau de Toilette. For a while, I was wearing a lot of the Eau de Toilette. And I had used up a smaller bottle this size. And then I got a larger size because I really liked it. And it also went down a little faster than the Eau de Parfum. But I liked its projection a bit more. And then all of a sudden we heard that all the Guerlain men's fragrances were going into uniform bottles. So we've got the Eau de Parfum here in this bottle. And we've got the Eau de Toilette. So those two are classics. I believe they came out in the 60s or the 50s. I think it's the 60s. But, no, I'm sorry. The Eau de Toilette came out in the 60s. The Eau de Parfum came out in the early 2000s. And then Eau de Toilette got reformulated in the early 2000s as well. That's what I've heard. So those are classic fragrances. I feel like the Eau de Toilette is fresher, a bit more citrusier. And the Eau de Parfum is a bit more deeper, less citruses and a bit of leather. There's rose in this as well, but it's not a rose fragrance, I would say. Great collection. I think that's probably one of their most popular. That is why they keep cranking out flankers of this. Because this year they launched Spirit, as you can see right here. I have a full review of Spirit if you want to go catch that video. 2 years ago, they launched Rouge Privé, super sexy edition, very leathery, on the animalic side. Have you tried the Rouge Privé? Do you want me to smell these? I guess I can go ahead and smell them for you as well. Because the Habit Rouge series is the most popular. And the Eau de Toilette, as I said, is a bit more fresher. The lemoniness stands out. But I feel like, I guess they felt they needed to modernize these. So that's the OG in Eau de Toilette. That's why they reformulated it. Oh, it's a classic smell. I love that smell. I mean, it reminds me of a very gentlemanly fragrance. Also, there's a saying out there that the Habit Rouge series was the male answer to their most famous fragrance, Shalimar. And I don't have a really big collection of Shalimar fragrances. I have 4. And 3 of them are the flankers that they do every year. Yeah, so the Eau de Parfum is not as projecting, but deeper smelling and slight leatheriness. The Eau de Toilette does have more of a lemoniness. And I kind of like that. So that's why I was digging this Eau de Toilette. And I'm going to have to keep this forever now because it's such an amazing men's fragrance. One of the most timeless fragrances. And I think since maybe vanilla is very popular these days, maybe that's why they're focusing on Habit Rouge, because it does have vanilla in the notes. But for me, the Eau de Toilette screams a little louder, which I kind of like. But definitely the Eau de Parfum is denser. You can experience it. And I think that's kind of the reason why it's not a projection. It doesn't project. I shouldn't say it's a projection monster because it never was. But it's a bit more subdued, I think. But still, definitely more dense. So those are the first two Habit Rouge. And along the way, they've had countless flankers of the Habit Rouge series. The one that I cannot stand, unfortunately, is the L'Instinct. I think it's awful. I'm not going to smell that one. You know, I'm also missing Dress Code. I don't have the Dress Code bottle here. I think it's stacked up there because I might have missed those bottles, and I'll pull that down in a bit as well. But the two that's left for me to check out for you guys, and then also the Rouge Privé. We've got the Spirit from this year, and we've got the Parfum from last year. And if you aren't aware, Guerlain launched 3 men's fragrances in Parfum concentration last year. Of course, I spoke about VETIVER. And of course, we also had Habit Rouge. And then we also had L'Homme Ideal. So between the 3, Habit Rouge for me was the strongest, followed by VETIVER, then L'Homme Ideal. But also, I prefer the smell of L'Homme Ideal a little bit more than the VETIVER, but my taste changes. You know, I kind of go back and forth. Sometimes I really enjoy the woody, aromatic of the VETIVER note in the VETIVER, but sometimes I really enjoy boozy fragrances and gourmand and things like that. But the Parfum for me, between the Spirit, is so good. Really awesome. Oh man, it is to die for delicious. It's dense, it's intense, it's vanillic, it's boozy. And then they also have patchouli here. It's a fantastic release. This is definitely awesome. Really, really great. And I think if you have this, I'll say it again, you don't need Spirit. I actually prefer the OG Parfum more than the Spirit. And I believe the Spirit is a limited edition. Let's check that one out. But also, I should say, you can layer Spirit with the you can layer the Parfum of Habit Rouge with Rouge Privé. Oh man, it's so good. So, so good. But let's try the Spirit first, then we'll go to the Rouge Privé. The Rouge Privé is quite intense with the leatheriness. So basically, they brought out the leathery side of Habit Rouge. But with the Parfum, they brought out the more gourmand and boozy side of Habit Rouge. I mean, I like the Spirit. In fact, it seems to have gotten a bit more dense. It's been a while since I've had it. It is more boozy now, too. So strange. Wow. I mean, I still prefer the booziness and the intensity of the Parfum. The Spirit is good. I think you could do with both. Whichever one you have, you should keep. There's slight differences, but they're pretty close to me. And again, I think both are definitely worth it. Unless you're a collector like me, get both. Let's try the Rouge Privé next. The Rouge Privé, oh man, it's so good. The Rouge Privé, sadly, is no longer, from what I've seen and heard. Oh yeah. So good. So it's leatherier, but also a bit more citrusy. And I don't get the citrusy touches in the Parfum and the Spirit. There's definitely citrusy edge here, which to me, it kind of reminds me a little bit more of the original Habit Rouge DNA, but so good, so good. These flankers are awesome. If you're a lover of all things Guerlain and you enjoy Habit Rouge, yeah, I think it's worth collecting these fragrances. And as I said, I don't have the dress code down here. I don't know where it is. It's probably up there with all my vintage fragrances. So I'll pull that down in a bit. And just to reiterate also, the Habit Rouge dress code does remind me a little bit of the Parfum. So I think both of them are awesome. So let's move over to the L'Homme Ideal collection next. Sadly, L'Homme Ideal collection is not my all-time favorite collection. For me, it's a bit lackluster. It's a bit underwhelming, sadly. But they did launch the Platine Privé. It's not the first one, by the way. I haven't worn this one much. I have it. I like it. And a lot of people think this one reminds them of the cologne, L'Homme Ideal cologne, which also I don't have with me, and I never really had any left because I had used it up. This is cologne-esque. It's very fresh with that kind of tonka almondy DNA of the OG L'Homme Ideal. Yeah, I think the L'Homme Ideal collection is a bit of a, I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you love it? Do you enjoy it? It's definitely Guerlain-esque, but I think it's a bit underwhelming for me. My favorite happened to be the Extreme. But I think now the Parfum is my favorite because the Parfum is pretty intense. Here's the Extreme. I actually wore quite a bit of this. This is a second bottle. During the pandemic, I was wearing quite a bit of this. This is kind of a tobacco-ish and boozy. I think they did a great job. If they come up with a Parfum of this, it'll be awesome. More intense, dense, beefier, fruity, boozy, and also tobacco-ish. Love that. It smells great. But still, I think the collection is just a bit of a, I don't know. I guess maybe it appeals to people, and so people, I mean, that's why they're making tons of flankers of this. Then we have L'Homme Ideal Intense. L'Intense. L'Intense is what it's called. I also don't have my Sport edition here. I've run out of it. The Sport edition, I hated the dry down, or wait, I love the dry down of the Sport edition because there was a ton of patchouli in it. But the top notes were very marine, which kind of turned me off, unfortunately. I think the L'Intense is a bit boring. I've gotten bored of it. There's a chili pepper note in this one, I think, from what I remember. It is spicy. What do you guys think? Which one of these L'Homme Ideal fragrances is your favorite? The OG is this. No, that's not the OG. The OG is this one. I think this series started in 2015 or 2014. I think it was just starting around the time I kind of got on the scene. Maybe a little after. I think the original is very fresh with some warmth, kind of the Tonka-ish almondy warmth under there. It's a bit boring. And then the Eau de Parfum was next, which I enjoyed for a while. I liked it. There is a bit of a cherry effect in this. I think it's from the almonds that are in there. Yeah, it's definitely better than the OG, the Eau de Toilette, but not as exciting as the Extreme. There's a very light effect happening. Here's the Cool. I think they went into a minty direction. This is all I have left. I think this is no longer. A lot of the fragrances, the Cologne, the Sport, I believe this. Is there anything that's missing? I haven't kept up. And I don't know where my Parfum is of this fragrance. I'm missing quite a bit of fragrances, unfortunately. Let's see. All right, here's the Parfum edition. I thought I forgot that one. There's a lot of fragrances on this table, by the way. It's a roller table that goes up and down, which is perfect for shooting. But I really enjoyed the Parfum. I felt like it was a bit weak compared to the Habit Rouge. The Habit Rouge is so super potent. I love that about it. Plus, it smells good. This one smells great, but to me, it wears very thin on me. It's thinner, but super boozy, super yummy. I much prefer the Habit Rouge Parfum, though. Even the VETIVER Parfum. Which one of these L'Homme Ideal fragrances is your favorite? Do add a comment below. Let us know. But that's the L'Homme Ideal series of fragrances. I think we've covered all the men's collection. I'll probably bring down a few more in a bit after I go through all of these. There's a ton of fragrances here that I'm going to go over still. But let's talk about the Shalimar series. So the Shalimar series is probably what Guerlain House is known for. And before I get to this fragrance, look at this beautiful vintage bottle. I love this bottle, guys. I'm a bottle collector as well. I bought this as is. I didn't buy it with the juice inside. But this bottle is gorgeous. What do you guys think? Do you like it? Okay. So the Shalimar series is a long-standing series of fragrance. And I only have the Eau de Toilette, which is right here. And then, of course, I have 3 out of 4 of the flankers that they did every year, limited editions. So they launched, I think during the pandemic in 21, they launched the vanilla version, which I never got to smell and never bought. The following year in 22, I think they launched the Tonka, which is what I have. When I was buying the Tonka, the woman said the vanilla was not that good. It was too sweet. This is a better. And I think out of all the other ones that I bought, which includes the Iris and the Jasmine, the Tonka is definitely the best. It's so damn good. So what they're doing with these fragrances is they're taking one of the notes in the actual Shalimar and they're basically pushing it, like focusing on it, intensifying that note. So this is the Tonka edition. Kind of looks like the bottle that I have, although it's a spray bottle here. The vintage bottle I was talking about. Let's see. As you can see right there. So basically that's what they're doing with these flankers. I believe this year it's bergamot. I'm not sure. It comes out towards the end of the year. And it comes out for several months until they completely run out. But to me, so far, without getting my nose on the vanilla, the Tonka is superb. And I love Tonka and fragrances, and they did such a great job with the Tonka. I just wish I had a backup bottle of this. Yum. So there's that bitter almondy, slight boozy effect happening with the Tonka. It's so delicious. It's taken it to a kind of a not so sickly sweet gourmand. And I think the woman at the Guerlain boutique on the Rue Saint-Honoré in Paris, where I bought this from, she might be right, because this is not that sweet. It is sweet, but it's not that sweet. So if they brought out the vanilla in the Shalimar for the very first one, it could have gone extremely sweet. But this one is just super, super fine. So that is the Tonka. And if you guys don't know Shalimar, I believe it came out in the early 1900s. And it's definitely been around for years. Are we nearing the 100th anniversary of the Shalimar? Or did we already celebrate it? I can't remember. But the OG in Eau de Toilette, it's, you know, it's got the bergamot. It's kind of fresh. But it's got the Tonka. It's got the vanilla. And I believe they have the Jasmine and Iris in here as well. It does smell like an old school fragrance. But it is a great smell. Shalimar is definitely one of the best fragrances ever created. That's why it stood the test of time. People still love it. But it does have those classic touches. If you're not into classic fragrances, you're not going to like this. You're going to come back to me and say it smells like grandma. Well, it doesn't smell like grandma to me, but it will remind me of grandma because it might have worn something like this. Grandma smells different than Shalimar. So the other 2 flankers I'm going to talk to you about, we've got Jasmine and Iris. I think Jasmine launched after Tonka. And then I think after that it was the Iris. Here is this one. Let me know if you're a fan of the Shalimar series of fragrances. So basically in this version, they brought out the jasmine more. So you can totally smell the jasmine here. It's Shalimar with an overdose of jasmine, basically. And the jasmine is a slight bit indolic. But the sweetness is there. It's just taking it into more of a floral direction. It's actually quite good. I think the weakest one is the Iris, sadly. And again, I haven't got my nose on the vanilla. I can't let people judge for me, but that woman, the associate, did say it was too sweet. So, Millesime Iris. I think I put up a short video of this fragrance while I was in France. I shot it there. And here's the Millesime Iris. So does anybody know, is it bergamot this year? Are they going to do more of a fresh version this year of this series? I hope they have something launching. I hope. Or maybe they'll bring back the vanilla. Who knows? Yeah, the iris. You know, the iris is kind of creamy and powdery. There's a slight, I don't know, for some reason it's reminding me of Fève, what is it called? Fève Gourmand? A little bit. Huh. I didn't get that before. And this has been sitting here since September in the bottle. So it's almost a year, you know, maturating in the bottle. Look at that bottle. It is a gorgeous bottle. It's an iconic looking bottle. The Shalimar series of fragrances are, again, timeless fragrances. They've been around for a century. And people still buy them. And they keep making flankers. And we're wanting those flankers, right? Let me know if you're a fan of Shalimar. Add a comment below. Let's talk about something that is not available anymore. And I bought it in its French exclusive re-release. It's originally from the L'Art et la Métier collection. And by the time I got on the scene, Ganache had already been discontinued. So they relaunched it at the end of the 2010s, and when you went to a boutique, you could get it like a B bottle refilled with it. So I have the juice in here. So this is an iris fragrance, and we're segueing from the Millesime iris to Ganache, so iris Ganache. So you buy that B bottle, and it comes with this as well. So you can decant it from the B bottle and put it in here to spray. I think it's a gorgeous fragrance, by the way. I just don't think it's super intense. So maybe that's why it didn't have the lasting power, and that's why it got discontinued and people wanted it back. It's super powdery, but it did have that kind of a ganache gourmand effect happening with some fruitiness. I almost visualize like very decadent chocolates you would buy in France from like the high-end, you know, chocolate or sweets shop. And it's a chocolate covered with some kind of a creamy, fruity filling. And you dig it, you know, bite into it. And it doesn't like overflow, but there is a bit of a runniness there. But it's so decadently delicious. Fruity and boozy at the same time, but very powdery and slight bit chocolatey. That is what I get with Ganache. Sadly, it is no longer selling at the boutiques. I don't know when they stopped, but I bought my bottle towards the latter part of, see, you've got a numbered production there. They numbered it and everything. Sadly, I believe they stopped during the pandemic because this was launched around 2019 or something like that. And I'm glad to have it, but I can see why it's not one of those like long-standing fragrances. It's a bit weak, I think. It's not like tobacco honey is so strong. What's going on here? Tobacco honey is so strong. This is kind of wimpy, unfortunately. But as a smell, it's so delicious. But it just doesn't have that beefiness that I like in my fragrances. So it's a bit of a complaint for you guys. All right, so let's talk about this collection. This collection is like the Middle East collection. And I'm forgetting the name of the collection. So this is Bois Mystérieux, which is discontinued, sadly. And it used to be my favorite in the series. I absolutely love it. And this collection, Bois Mystérieux, used to be in another collection, which I have two testers. And it was originally called Songe d'un Bois d'été. I know I'm butchering the French, but it's a tester. I have the OG, and I have, it's my favorite. It's one of my favorite Guerlains of all time. So I do have two bottles. One of you or two of you reached out to me. I don't like mine. Do you want to buy it? And after it got discontinued, yeah, I did. So I have two here. But I also have the OG, as I said. The OG is the, yeah, I'm not going to say this name again. So But what is this all about? It is a very spicy, leathery, resinous experience with aromatics and spices thrown in. Whew, I love it. A lot of cumin in here. It turns people off. It's quite animalic, very pungent. And it's almost like you're rubbing your hands with all these spices, and the smell and sweat of your body is like, you know, making the smell come out. And maybe you're at a leather shop or a tannery, but it's uber spicy. It's like a spice shop, and you're walking around and there's a lot of sweaty people walking around. Super amazing. I love that fragrance. Now I'm keeping this just to keep as something that I have. Does anybody remember this collection? It was a collection of 3 fragrances. The other one was Rose Nacree du Désert. I think that's the one. And I think that is redone as Musk Noble. Musk Noble, for me, is a bit underwhelming, sadly. It doesn't have the oomph I want in fragrances, but it's mostly a rosy musk fragrance. Slight funk under there. It's nice. I think when I first got my bottle, it was weaker. It has gotten a bit more dense. But, you know, it's wearable. It's not like Bois Mysterieux where it's like super loud and in your face and intrusive. This is subdued. It's a bit more feminine. It's a bit more elegant, quite musky and rosy. I wouldn't say it's uber feminine. I think the rose creates that feminine touch, but the musk in there is quite nice, I think. But it's not so loud. This next one, I don't have too much. It's Patchouli Ardent. I hadn't seen patchouli done this way. It's a patchouli with fig fruit. It's really breath of fresh air, nice breath of fresh air with the patchouli experience. But I don't know if this is still selling. I know the bottles have also been changed, so they're a bit more transparent looking bottles, keeping somewhat of the same color. But also there's the DNA running across this collection. It's got that kind of a Middle Eastern edge about it, which I kind of like. It kind of is making the fragrances a bit more cohesive. And the fact that they are cohesive makes for something you can go from one to the other, and they don't completely stand out. They do blend, even though they're different fragrances. There's a connection there. That Patchouli Ardent, now that I'm smelling it again, it's quite nice. It's very dry. And it's not your typical chocolate cakey type of patchouli. It's definitely, I don't know, it's different. There's an earthiness about it and a dusty, almost oudiness about it. Here we have Santal Royal, which I believe is the most popular in the collection. It's sandalwood with rose, and I believe there's oud here as well. Yeah, it's a creaminess for sure. There's definitely a Middle Eastern edge about it. And I can pick up the rose. I can see why this is very popular. I think it's something you can wear easily, not be put off by some of the kind of notes that sometimes, you know, challenging fragrances. There's a slight funk with it, and I think it comes with the territory. It's a Middle Eastern, so they're kind of giving it a bit of an oudi, animalic funk about it. I think it's pleasant. Not my all-time favorite in the collection. Of course, my favorite is Bois Mysterieux. I love that. Sadly, it's discontinued. Oud Essential. Also pretty solid oud, I think. What do you guys think? Although I have received complaints that this collection, since the reformulation and the fact that the bottles are now a bit more transparent looking, keeping the same colors, has gotten reformulated. So for me, Oud Essential, Patchouli Ardent, Bois Mysterieux are kind of like cohesive, very connected. The one that doesn't kind of fit in here is the Musk Noble. It smells so different from the others. Doesn't keep the DNA, but Oud Essential does. Like, they're definitely very connected, like they're relatives or something. The Oud Essential is quite nice too. Here we have CUIR Intense, and we have ENCENS MYTHIQUE. I believe the leather is quite animalic. Can be a bit challenging as well. After these two, I'm going to show you one more that I know is discontinued. And I haven't kept up with this collection. I know there's new ones. It's really hard to keep up with a lot of these brands. They're constantly discontinuing and launching new ones. This one is challenging. Not so much as the one that I'm going to talk to you about last. But this can be challenging to some people that don't appreciate leather. There's some funk in here. It definitely smells like an animal. Nicely done, though. On the skin, the animalic even comes out more. So that could be a bit off-putting to some folks who have challenging times with fragrances like this. And then we've got ENCENS MYTHIQUE. I think it's a pretty solid incense fragrance. Let me know if you're a fan of this one. Let me know if you're a fan of this collection. I think there's a new one in this collection called Rose Amira, which I never got. I believe it was a Middle Eastern exclusive for a while. Oh, I take it back. This is the one that's animalic. Ooh. There's a funk here. Big time. I mean, it comes out, but I think it gets covered back up. But there's a slight funk with ENCENS MYTHIQUE. What do you guys think? And one of the earlier ones that definitely has a funk, it's gotten discontinued, is Ambre Eternal. So Ambre Eternal, I've filed away because it was discontinued. I like, having these fragrances that get discontinued to refer back to. It is ambergris focused, I think. Ooh, yeah, that's pretty challenging. It's not your traditional amber that utilizes resins and, balsamic notes and labdanum and vanilla. This is, I think this is the reason why it got discontinued. It was not very mass appealing. There's a certain clientele that likes fragrances like this, but since Guerlain's in the business of making money, they're not going to produce a certain tiny quantity for a tiny quantity of people. They want to sell bottles. So that is Ambre Eternal. I think that one got discontinued really quickly in this collection. So it's been long gone for a while. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some discontinued fragrances here in their vintage bottles. So we've got L'Instant de Guerlain for the ladies in Eau de Parfum. So this is the OG bottle here, but this is a tiny bottle. This is 30 ml or 50? It's a 30 ml. Interesting that they have a 30 ml bottle of this, shaped just like the way the OG bottle is. I don't know much about this one. I believe it's honeyed. And I didn't care for I think it's a floral. It's like an amber floral. Yeah. I'm familiar with the smell. I remember ladies used to wear this when it was really popular in the 2000s. Definitely honeyed and floral touches, but it's not my all-time feminine Guerlain fragrance. It doesn't come in this version anymore. I believe they come in bottles like this, but different shades of color. Let me know if you're a fan of this fragrance. This is L'Instant de Guerlain. For the ladies, obviously. It's not pour homme. So then we have this fragrance. It's a tester. This is a fragrance called, I believe this one also still sells, but in the similar bottles to this, in different shades. This is Insolence. Look at this bottle. It's a bit hypnotizing, isn't it? I love that. So it has written things on it, as you can see. So this is Eau de Toilette Insolence. It's a tester bottle, and I've written down the name. Let me know if you're familiar with this. There should be a few more fragrances that I should have brought down. I can't find them now. So this to me smells like either mimosa flower or heliotrope. It's very floral, but it smells like spring flowers to me. It doesn't smell like, you know, those heady flowers that are like, although they might feature them, but what's standing out are spring floral notes. It's quite lovely, actually. I actually like the smell of Insolence more than the L'Instant de Guerlain. Let me know if you've worn this fragrance. Let me know if you've wanted to wear it. It's Guerlain Insolence in Eau de Toilette. And here's another vintage bottle. I'm gonna talk to you about some vintage fragrances from the brand as well. And we're gonna get to the L'Art et la Métier collection and some of their OG fragrances that I have, that I have also. But here is a fragrance called Champs-Élysées. My mom wore this one. And I think this still sells. I believe it comes in the uniform bottles now. It's much cheaper to do uniform bottles, obviously. If they're doing multiple different bottle designs. And they had a ton of different bottle designs, obviously. My mom wore this one. It's pretty. It's a pretty fragrance. This is Eau de Toilette. And unfortunately, I'm not too familiar with the notes breakdown for this. But it's giving me reminders of when she wore it, because I remember smelling it off of her. She wore this, and also Kenzo, something D'été by Kenzo. She loved both of these. Both of these kind of do have a very spring floral-like effect. It's very uplifting. There's a fizzy factor about it. It's gorgeous. It is an eau de toilette, which means it's not as potent and beefy as eau de parfums can be, or parfum concentrations can be. But it's a super delicious fragrance. And I believe this still comes in a uniform bottle that's shaped like this, but not this coloring. I think it's a bit more like transparent colors, not so dense colors like the Middle Eastern collection is. So that is Champs-Élysées, you know, the toilette from the House of Guerlain in the vintage bottle. So we've got this fragrance that's recently gotten discontinued. It's from the L'Art et la Métier collection. This is Oud Cole. So it was launched along with Oud Nude. Oud Nude? Nude Oud? Oud Nude. And also Cherry Oud. This is a bit animalic. I can see maybe that's why it got discontinued. And they keep discontinuing the more animalic fragrances. Aren't they learning that people are not really buying those? It's quite animalic, actually. The oud is quite funky. I think there's a trace of rose in here. But it's pretty naughty. Can see why it was discontinued. Let me know if you were a fan of this. I think my favorite in this trio, is there something minty in here as well? I think my favorite in the trio of the fragrances, including Oud Cole, Oud Nude, and Cherry Oud, was Oud Nude. Recently I spoke about it in a video. But Oud Cole, I like it. Don't love it. So this fragrance, I don't know what happened with this fragrance. It got discontinued so damn fast. I was shocked. It came and went like a year later. This is from the Aqua Allegoria collection. This is Coconut Fizz. Do you guys remember this? This was at the height of the pandemic. It's a coconut fragrance that has a crunchy, crisp quality about it, which makes for... because coconut tends to be creamy. I don't get creamy from this one. There's a crisp quality about it. Almost like violet leaves, ozonic touches, which creates a watery effect. But the coconut is hidden under there. I really like this a lot. I think this was such a great release. This is all I have now. If you got that one, let me know what your thoughts are. I wish they'd bring this back. I think this would be... there is a beachy factor about it, but I feel like the coconut has been rained on with some kind of a crisp, fruity juice. It's so good. So good. I don't know why they discontinued this. Maybe it was a dud. Maybe ingredients were banned. I don't know. But this is Aqua Allegoria collection, Coconut Fizz. I started buying the Aqua Allegoria collection when I first bought the Mandarin Basilic, which I love. I really love. And I believe I also bought the Bergamot in that collection as well on a trip to Spain one year back in the late 2010s. But 2 more discontinued fragrances, and I'm going to pause the video, remove everything from here, and then drop the rest of the fragrances. But it's the same fragrance, but look at this. Look at this, the color. The same fragrance. Why would the color be so different? So this is Elixir Charnel. Do you guys know this one? This is what is now named as Fève Gourmande. Oh God, that smells good. That smells so good. So delicious. I actually really love this. Maybe this is kind of what they were going with Eerie Ganache, because I get a bit of a vibe like that, but more chocolate and fruits pronounced. Oh God, it's so good. And these bottles have been sitting. What makes the colors like this? I don't get. Such different colors. Both of them smell exactly the same. I don't get it. Oh, they're actually a slight bit different. One's a bit more tart, but slight. Slight bit tart. But both of them super delicious, guys. That is one of the best creations. The only complaint I have with that fragrance, it was never beefy, but maybe it doesn't have to be, but I want a bit more intensity with it to prolong the life a little longer because it fades away pretty fast. But the smell, man, the smell. It's all about the smell. I'll pull out Fève Gourmande in a bit and talk to you guys about it. But for me, this was definitely one of the most delicious chocolatey, fruity gourmands. Let me know if you were wearing that fragrance. I know it was discontinued for a while, and then they brought it back years later and put it into the L'Art et l'Amitié collection. I don't know how long it'll be in there. We'll see. But it's definitely really delicious. Just wish it was a little more potent, as I was saying. All right, so I have put away all of the previous fragrances. Now I've got a ton of others. And sadly, I can't find my dress code bottle. Guerlain's Habit Rouge dress code bottle. I don't know where it is. But dress code was a flanker of Habit Rouge that came out probably around 2016. Really loved it. And they did one design one year. They did another bottle design the following year, and people said it was the same. I didn't smell the follow-up bottle or the fragrance. I just bought the very first one. And I do associate, or I connect dress code to have similarities to the Habit Rouge Parfum. So if you liked dress code and you were looking for, something to replace your dress code because you're out of the fragrance, I think the Habit Rouge Parfum should satisfy. But just keep in mind, I believe dress code was Eau de Parfum. The Parfum, obviously, it's a higher concentrated fragrance. I did find this Habit Rouge Low. So Low, I'm not going to spray this. I think it was just a watery, fresher take on the OG. This is all I have of the Low. It's obviously in that previous bottle. And this is the same bottle that the dress code came in. And bummer, I cannot find my bottle to show you guys. But here is also a previous bottle of Heritage. As you can see, Heritage, this bottle was a lot similar in the way the glass is cut to that very original bottle that I showed you that I bought, the Factice and the actual perfume. So eventually the bottles were phased away and it's all uniform now. And sadly, we don't have the Eau de Toilette anymore. This is an Eau de Toilette, as you can see. And I should also show you this, which I did bring up. This is a flanker to the Homme. Not L'Homme Ideal, but Homme. Glad I have a full bottle. This is L'Eau Boisée. This was so good. I think this was a bit more of a mint mojito effect with an overdose of vetiver. I'm going to go ahead and spray this. It's been a while since I've sprayed it. I really like this. You do get that kind of lime. I think there's lime and mint and vetiver in here, so giving you that kind of a very fresh, sparkling mint mojito-like experience when you're wearing it. So good. This is discontinued now, sadly, but at one time it was great. But it came in a different bottle. It wasn't in this bottle. It was a bit short, like this. Let me know who remembers the bottles of this. And there's something else here that I found that I want to highlight. One of my very first vintage bottle purchases. Derby. So let me show you this. I'm not going to spray this one, unfortunately. So there's not a lot of juice left, but this is Derby. And I never wore Derby, so I can't really speak about it, but I wish. I think it still sells. Does it still sell? They'll probably bring them back if it doesn't, but that's Derby. So let's see, where should we go? Let's continue talking about the Aqua Allegoria collection. We've got Pampaloon, but look at my bottle. What's going on? What is that stuff in there? It's a bit weird. Has it turned? It's interesting. This is grapefruit, but there's a major greasy oiliness about it. It's almost like they've literally captured the greasy oiliness off the skin of the grapefruit. It's literally in here, which is good. And it hasn't turned. It's just, I don't know what's going on with all this. It smells great, actually. I like that greasiness of that skin. Like, literally, the skin is alive. Here is Tiazzura. Who likes this collection? They're very fresh fragrances, obviously. It's a tea fragrance. I think it's pleasant. Very calming, very soothing, very aromatic, fresh, green. I like that. I do. But there's so many tea fragrances on the market, obviously. Here we have Mandarin Basilic. So I've done a video of this fragrance comparing it to Louis Vuitton's Afternoon Swim. So Afternoon Swim is a mandarin orange fragrance. This is mandarin orange and basil. That's what Mandarin Basilic means. So if you take out the basil in this, you're kind of pretty much left with what Afternoon Swim smells like. So if you like Afternoon Swim and you want something a little different but similar, the addition of basil, this is one for you. It's so fresh and juicy. Really wonderful. I feel like also the Afternoon Swim is a bit creamier. This is a bit more sharper, but so juicy and delicious. Perfect for extremely hot days. Here we have Neroli Vetiver. Are you familiar with Neroli Vetiver? Basically combining neroli, the orange flower from the bitter orange tree, with this grassy, earthy, woody note of vetiver. I think it's a great combo. It works. You've got some substance and depth with the vetiver, but you've got this fresh floral effect from the neroli. It's very soapy. Really yummy. I think it's, once again, really, really great. A fresh fragrance. I love neroli. Orange blossom, my favorite floral note in fragrances, I should say. Here we have Bergamot Calabria. Where's the... oh, here. Bergamot Calabria is Calabrian bergamot. That's where bergamot comes from, Calabria. And I mean, that's where a lot of the bergamot for perfumes come from. It's just a juicy take on bergamot. I wouldn't call this something as good as Bergamot 22 from the House of Le Labo. I consider that one of the best citrus smells ever. I wish it was a bit more potent, but this will satisfy. It's quite not so tart, but there's a tartness about it, but also lots of floral touches. And I feel like there's woods under there. I'm picking up a bit of musk and also some like vetiver, like grassy woods under there as well. It's pleasant. Once again, the Aqua Allegoria collection are fresh fragrances, so I would keep those for the hottest days, unless you want something uber refreshing during the warmer months. I mean, the colder months, I should say. So this next one is, look at how it came. It came in a box like this when I ordered it, and it was in a packaging like this. This is Harvest Neroli Vetiver. I thought this was a limited edition, so I was basically just keeping it. But they've taken Neroli Vetiver, which is this, and added a ton of honey. So I think Guerlain was going through a honey phase because this came out around the same time as Tobacco Honey. And you know, white flowers, even citrus flowers, there is a bit of a honey effect with them. I also get honey from, oh, I can smell the honey. I also get honey from mimosa flower. There's a honeyed effect. For example, Un Air d'Apogée from the House of Maison Violet. The tobacco fragrance has a bit of a honeyed effect. And I have a video with Anthony, one of the owners of the brand. They said they used mimosa flower to give it a honeyed effect there. But here it's quite honeyed. And when you smell the actual orange blossom, when you really stop and smell it, you can pick up honeyed sweetness. This is actually really wonderful. I like the sweetness, but still you're dealing with the orange blossom or neroli with the vetiver. So it's just sweetened up, basically taking the OG and sweetening it up. Wonderful fragrance. Is this a limited edition or is this forever? I don't know. I haven't used much of it because a collector like me, I wanted to have this. They did a great job with that one. I think it's Delphine Jelk who created that one. Is it her? And the last fragrance in this Aqua Allegoria collection is a Forte. Aqua Allegoria Forte Bosca Vanilla. I should say vanilla. Bosca Vanilla. So this one rubs me the wrong way a little bit, but it's still really delicious. There's a slight marine edge about this, which bothers me. Everything else about it smells so delicious, but why do I get marine touches? See, when I smell it, there's a bit of a tropical saltiness. So with on skin, that kind of marine sulfur, kind of calone seaweed pops through. But man, on the strip, it's so good. So yummy. Have you tried this one, guys? It's really great. This is an eau de parfum, I believe. It's not an eau de toilette like the rest of the collection. Yeah, it does say eau de parfum on it. That's quite good. Have you guys gotten that marine effect with that one? That disappoints me, unfortunately. I don't know why that happens, but it does happen with that fragrance. So let's go to some of the classic fragrances. Out of all of the Guerlain classics, this is one of my favorites right here. L'Heure Bleue smells like a luxurious soap. It also does remind me of my grandmother's bathroom. I'm not going to say it reminds me of her. It reminds me of her bathroom. And not in a negative way, because the toiletries smelled so good in that bathroom. Here's L'Heure Bleue. Absolutely amazing fragrance. One of the best from Guerlain. And I also have this, the eau de toilette version, without a cap or whatever. Yeah, cap. I wonder if this cap fits this. No, it doesn't, sadly. Anybody have a cap for this? I don't have a cap on this one. But let's try the eau de parfum first. I love it. I don't know why, but the word Camay comes to mind, and that's a soap. And it's not saying it in a negative way. And I don't consider that a luxurious soap, but I'm getting that kind of a soap smell here. It's great. This is so good. L'Heure Bleue, amazing. It's creamy, but in a soapy way. And of course, you know, they make soap with a creamy kind of consistency. So when you're lathering with the soap, you can experience that creaminess. And here I'm smelling it. It kind of reminds me like that kind of creamy lather that I get with, you know, soap. So let's try the L'Heure Bleue in Eau de Toilette. I don't know if this is still in existence. I can notice that it's much lighter, but not as luxurious as the Eau de Parfum. But it's developing. It's getting there. This one also kind of reminds me a little bit of Shalimar. Don't know why. But it's gotten there. It's gotten there. It's good. It's good. It's good. It's good. Yum. This is one of my favorite, all-time favorite Guerlain fragrances. That is not part of, you know, the very hyped ones like Shalimar or Happy Rouge. So this one was recently gifted to me by a follower. You know who you are. Thank you again for giving me that. It was at the 54 fragrance event at Lucky Scent in LA. I'm glad to have it. I haven't owned Jiki before, and I don't know much about it, but I've heard a lot about Jiki. There's definitely, like, not Chanel, what am I saying? There's definitely a Guerlain DNA in this, which I quite like. The DNA in this is also reminding me of the DNA in L'Heure Bleue. It's reminding me of the DNA in Shalimar. Is this aldehydes? But Jiki is good. I need to do a little research and wear it. I haven't worn it, sadly. But let me know if you're a fan of Jiki. And again, thank you so much for the gift. Really appreciate that. Very thoughtful of you. Yeah, that one I'm kind of unfamiliar with. But let's see, what else do we got here? Here is a classic called Jardin de Bagatelle. This is a floral fragrance, I believe. I'm not sure if it's, I can't remember the floral notes in here. I don't think they're the common floral notes. There might be a bit more exotic flowers. Is it hyacinth? There's a greenness about it. Wow. This one transports me to the 90s. It's green for sure. But it's gorgeous. Very, very transportive fragrance. Totally takes me back in time. I remember the smell. Smelling it on certain people that wore that. So the rest of the fragrances in this kind of series are... Oh, here, one more. We have Mitsuko. Mitsuko is a very popular Guerlain fragrance, obviously. Let me know if you're a fan of Mitsuko. Of course, Diaghilev from the House of Raja has similarities. This is the Eau de Parfum. So this is it's a fruity chypre. I mean, it reminds me of Diaghilev. Whereas Diaghilev might be a lot more beefier, a lot more luxurious. But I wouldn't say there's anything wrong with this one. This one's pretty darn good. It's a classic. Now, Diaghilev and Mitsuko are not one of my all-time favorite fragrances because, as I was saying earlier, one of my favorite classics from... Oh, where did it go? One of my favorite classics from Guerlain is this lovely number. L'Heure Bleue, man, if you haven't tried it and you like the idea of luxurious soap, try it. But I think Mitsuko might be more popular than Lure Blue. What do you guys think? Let me know, add a comment below. But Lure Blue is super fantastic. But Mitsuko, I actually reviewed the Diaghilev from Raja, and I can't believe how close it is to Mitsuko. There's the fruitiness in there. It's a fruity chypre. I think it's apricot, or is it peach? But to me, I love chypres. It's one of my favorite styles of fragrances. They're very classic, very vintage. This is not one of my favorite chypres. This one's a very dry fragrance for me. And I prefer more syrupy, kind of molassesy, ambery fragrances. There's a dryness about this this particular fragrance, including Diaghilev, that kind of turns me off. Even though I kind of like the way it smells, I wouldn't say it's a bad fragrance. It smells really nice, but I love chypres, but that's definitely not one of my favorite chypres. But really great. I mean, it's great enough that Raja even copied to make a version. And I think the story was Diaghilev was a opera, someone in the world of opera who sprayed their curtains with Mitsuko. Is that correct? Is that why Raja named his version Diaghilev? Because it was Diaghilev who was spritzing the curtains with Mitsuko? Add a comment and let us know. Okay, so we've got some of the fresh OG Guerlain fragrances. So I don't know the orders these came in, but let me show you this. I guess I have two of these. So Eau de Guerlain is the first one. So we've got Eau de Guerlain, we've got Cologne de Parfumeur, Eau de Cologne Imperial, Eau de Cologne du Coq. Is that how you say it? They're gorgeous. These are Eau de Cologne, so obviously, if you've been following me, you do know that Eau de Colognes are the lightest concentration of fragrances. So these are not going to last you a long time. They're meant to be worn and reapplied over and over again. But Guerlain has done such great work with these fragrances. They still smell great to me today. Yeah, they're classic, but takes me back. This is not Eau de Guerlain. This is Eau de Cologne Imperial. Wonderful fragrance. There's a soft gentleness about it. It reminds me of the orange blossom water that's utilized in the Middle East for cooking, because it is orange blossom after all. You can smell it. I mean, there's some spices and aromatics in there. Maybe some of the leaves of the orange tree, and there's some musk. Awesome fragrance. Eau de Cologne Imperial. I do happen to have two of them. And then Eau de Guerlain. This one, the juice is a bit darker, as you can see, yellower. Kind of similar, but not as soft as the Eau de Cologne Imperial. There's a softness about the Eau de Cologne Imperial. This one is a bit sharper. And this one also reminds me a bit of a chypre, like a men's Eau de Cologne style chypre fragrance, like the YSL Pour Homme, things like that. But still very good. I kind of prefer Eau de Cologne Imperial more than Eau de Guerlain. What do you guys think? Then we have Cologne de Parfumeur. Once again, Eau de Cologne. The only one I don't know the concentration of is this one. Well, it is Eau de Cologne, obviously. Eau de Cologne de Coq. I like these bottles. These are a bit plasticky, but the glass themselves is quite luxurious. Once again, this one's also softer than the Eau de Guerlain. there's a gentleness about the way it smells. It's not harsh. Whereas Eau de Guerlain was a bit more sharp and harsh. There's definitely softness here. And Gorgeous, also I feel like there's a bit more floralcy here. Cologne de Parfumeur. You guys familiar with this one? I don't know if you guys are fans of this line. They're very easy to wear fragrances. I like the classics. Whoa, the lid was not on. Yeah. This is Eau de Cologne du Coq. I'm probably butchering the name. I think this one smells great too. I think my favorite is the Eau de Cologne Imperial. But this one's nice. I think the one that was the harshest was the Eau de Guerlain. This one. There was a sharpness about it. But still, this one's really nice and gentle. These are like meant to be worn to just refresh and replenish with after you've like, you know, maybe sweated and things like that. And they were invented at a time where showers were not readily available. So you'd apply this stuff on and you'd feel clean. Because there's definitely a soapiness about them, which is kind of what I like about neroli or orange blossom focused fragrances. There's a cleanness about them. So before I go on to the L'Art et La Métier collection fragrances, I do want to show you guys this amazing vintage fragrance I found recently. I featured it in a video. So this is Guerlain's Guerlainade. This is like $500, and if you're looking for it on, well, no, I paid around $400, maybe $350. I can't remember exactly because I bought a bunch of other things. I haven't really opened up this, and this is the bottle inside. It's a collector's item for sure, and something is rolling around. It's like a cap that goes on top of this. So this was a re-release in the 90s, I believe, of this fragrance from a long time ago. As you can see, beautiful presentation. As a collector, this is going to be perfect for me. And here's the bottle. No, it's not opened. I'm not going to open it. I haven't opened it. But this is definitely from the 90s, as you can see on the bottom. Let me know if you guys have sampled this. Add a comment below. And let's move on to the last collection of fragrances. And they are from the L'Art et La Métier collection. So L'Art et La Métier collection fragrances went through a lot. So the very first fragrance in the collection I fell in love with was Angelique Noir. But I ended up buying Spirituous Double Vanille. The bottles at one time came like this. This is my Bois d'Harmonie, which sadly it's discontinued. Man, I'm so disappointed. And I don't have a bottle currently, so I need to find one ASAP. But there was a while it came like this. This was the worst bottle, guys. This sprayed hardly at all. It spilled everywhere. It leaked. So I probably only wore half of this juice. It's the worst bottle that they've ever put together. It's awful. There's bottles like this for a while. This is Spirituous Double Vanille. Here I have a Tonka Imperial in here. I also have Tonka Imperial in the regular new bottle. Here's an Angelique Noir. CUIR Beluga. So good. It's a really delicious fragrance. Here is Iris Torrefi, which I do not have in the current bottle. And here is Le Frenchie. So this went into the collection of L'Art et La Métier, but I don't remember what it was called. If you guys remember, add a comment below. This is kind of like a fougere, very aromatic and spicy, herbal, a bit classic because it's also a bit astringent. Yeah, there's a lot of lavender-like notes in here, like very aromatic and herbal. But it smells like an old school fragrance. It's kind of sharp and very, very herbal aromatic. And much citrus is in there. So it's very old school. Let me know if you're a fan of that. Here's Iris Torrefi. It does kind of have a bit of the DNA of something like Dior Homme Intense, Dior Homme Parfum. It's a different fragrance, but I pick up that kind of a DNA in here. There's a lot of coffee in here as well, and also you get that lipsticky vibe. The coffee is pretty strong. In fact, this bottle has been around for so long. I bought it during the pandemic, and I think the coffee has gotten stronger, but I can smell this kind of developing into becoming more of a creamy, buttery, lipsticky, orris-y thing. So yeah, there's a little bit of a DNA of Dior Homme in there, Dior Homme Parfum or Intense. Here's CUIR Beluga. I don't have it in the current collection. I bought this just before they changed the bottle collection. Go figure. And this is like a suede leather. This was around the same time as Ganache, and it gives me that kind of vibe as well. I wouldn't say it's similar to Ganache, as in like it smells the same, but it gives me those kind of vibes. It's so super yummy. It's very suede leather-like. It's not a harsh, kind of a strong animalic leather. Then we've got Angelique Noir. Ooh, look at the color of the juice on this one. Although you're not picking it up here. Oh, man. So this was my very first vanilla with greenery, like a green notes experience. It's such a unique fragrance. Really amazing. Like it smells like you wouldn't think that they would combine vanilla with this kind of green stemminess. And they're using the note of angelica, which is a vegetal note. And they've brought out its greener qualities because you can also use it as a musky note. It's very powdery. But the vanilla in here is so super syrupy and gooey against that greenness. It's a fantastic fragrance. Definitely super, super solid. Here's Tonka Imperial, which sadly is discontinued. And I do have a bottle of it in the original, or actually I should say in the new collection. And Tonka Imperial, I was surprised it got discontinued. I thought it was one of the bigger sellers. It's a Tonka Bean Balm. It's a bit kind of a bitter almondy, but super yummy. It's super, super yummy. I love this fragrance. Really boozy as well. The almond, it's almost like almond liqueur. And here's an old bottle of Spirituous Double Vanille. Wow. That has gone so boozy, or has it gone bad? Maybe it's a bit bad and boozy at the same time. That bottle's been around for a while. But it smells super amazing. I've not experienced the Spirituous Double Vanille so boozy like that. Wow, that's super yummy. It smells so good. So this bottle of Bois d'Harmonie, if this is all I have left, if I can't get a bottle of Bois d'Harmonie, I'm going to be so disappointed. And this doesn't spray very well. Shit. Unfortunately. Worst bottle ever. Can't even really spray it. So I'm not going to spray it right now because it's not spraying. So the Bois d'Harmonie is inspired by the Papier d'Harmonie incense papers, which I highly recommend if you like little incense. They don't last a long time. They're little strips. It comes in a little pamphlet. Peel it off. Put it in like a little small plate that you can use to burn things. Light it up and just put it in the plate, and it freshens up the little corner of your room or the bathroom or something, and it makes the place smell kind of like sweet, resinous, ambery, but vanillic, and that's what Bois d'Harmonie is inspired by. Sad it's discontinued. I'm so bummed. I never got to buy a bottle of it. I should have, but I kept thinking that's going to be around forever because I asked for a while, and they were saying it was around, but you know, Neiman Marcus never told me, never contacted me and said, it's getting discontinued. Why don't you come and get yourself a bottle? I just went in earlier today. They have none. And I was told that the executives came in and removed all the testers. So annoyed. So I'm not going to smell that right now, but let's go to this fragrance. Tobacco Honey. I love this fragrance. I love its intensity. Designers can do intense fragrances, although I wouldn't call this an extreme room filler, but I think they did such a great job with this. And combining honey and tobacco together, it's a match made in heaven. Vanilla and tobacco too. But here, the honey is so super realistic. I love that about it. There's smokiness, there's slight nuttiness, there's a bit of oud in here, but for me, it's all about the tobacco and the honey. I just love the way the honey smells in this. The honey is so super realistic. That's what I love about it, because I love to eat honey on a really nice, soft bread with butter. And I love the way the honey smells. My favorite is like neroli, or I'm sorry, not neroli, but orange blossom honey or lavender honey. And here, it gives me that kind of vibe. It's so good. I'm so glad they did such a great job with the tobacco honey. It's delicious. It smells great, and I love its intensity. Here we have Oud Nude. I spoke about it recently. Let me know if you're a fan of Oud Nude. This is the bottle. So, Cherry Oud, I did not care for. It was a stupid fragrance, I think. I'm sorry. If you like it, I'm sorry. I just didn't care for it. I mean, if I'm going to pick between Cherry Oud from Guerlain or Tom Ford Lost Cherry, and if I was forced, I would pick Lost Cherry. Because to me, I can get the cherry. I got hardly any cherry off of Cherry Oud. But this came with Oud Nude and Cherry Oud, and then also Oud Kohl. But for me, between the three, this was my favorite. I love it because there's a softness about it, a bit of nutty almondy effect about it. It's vanillic and also oudi and Middle Eastern at the same time. They did such a great job on it. I thought it might be a bit closer to the skin because that's kind of how they're marketing this fragrance. But I think it's pretty loud for what it is. It's not as loud as Tobacco Honey. But it's not a wimp either. It's not like Fève Gourmande, which I feel is so close to the skin. Oud Nude is not. I mean, Oud Nude is pretty big. So here is my Tonka Imperial. This is all I have, in addition to that other bottle. But once again, this is a Tonka bean focused fragrance. And, you know, it's a bit boozy. It's bitter almondy. It's like an almond liqueur. There's a bit of a difference between this one and the other one. Am I getting lavender in this? But still really yummy. I'm surprised Tonka Imperial got discontinued. I thought Tonka Imperial would never get discontinued. I thought Bois d'Harmonie would get discontinued way before Tonka Imperial, but it got discontinued. It got the axe before. Surprising, very surprising. And here is Spirituous Double Vanille in this bottle. Look at the color of the juice and look at the color of this juice. And have they changed the coloring? I don't know, because these are kept in a box, so they're not seeing light. So the other bottle was out more. I mean, even though it's tucked away behind a bunch of things. The other one stayed lighter than this version. But still, this one gives me more of a caramelly vibe. The other one was so super boozy. But still, I think it's definitely one of the best vanilla fragrances. Guerlain knows how to do vanilla. And if you recall, the very first bottle of Spirituous Double Vanille had this kind of a seal on it. It was in a bottle like this, but it had this kind of writing on it, like a label with this kind of a stamp seal on it. But it's changed so much. And also, I think originally these bottles, the sprayers were taller and you can decant them, like take them out, like open it up, but they got rid of that. And here is my Angelique Noir in this bottle, the cohesive collection bottle. I think this is a very popular fragrance, like Spirituous Double Vanille. I think Angelique Noir is definitely one of their more popular fragrances. And once again, even though I got differences between Tonka Imperial and Spirituous Double Vanille in the uniform L'Art et Métier bottles, I don't get differences with the Angelique Noir between this and the other bottle. They're very, very similar. In fact, I kind of prefer this one. The greenness is a bit more prominent. That's so good. The green stem, I get like a green stem experience with that, which is fantastic. So this is Santal Paurosa. So this was my very first purchase in this collection, and they went through all the thing, and they gave me this like special ribbon and all that good stuff. I've used quite a bit of it, but it's not one of my all-time favorites in the collection now. I've gotten bored of it. I think it's decent though. It's rosy. Under there's also a bit of Santal 33 reminder. A little bit, not too much. I got bored of it, but I feel like when I'm smelling it now, it smells pretty good. I do get, there's a little smokiness here. Is there incense? Very interesting. I kind of like it now. I had fallen out of love with it and I kind of put it away, but it's reminding me of something I'm familiar with. It's quite good. It's also very masculine. It's not a gourmand whatsoever. That's Santal Paurosa. So then we've got Fève Gourmande. Again, I wish this was a bit beefier, but as a smell, it is heavenly delicious. It's like I am like dropped in a shelf of chocolates and I'm just eating my way through it. That's kind of what it smells like. It's so yummy. There's a booziness about it, a fruitiness about it. But you know what? The previous bottles I showed you in the two different colors in the older collection smelled a little better. But still, it's so good. So there's a slight change about this, I think. Do you guys like Fève Gourmande? Do you get what I'm saying about the fragrance? Fève Gourmande next to tobacco honey is so super potent. But Fève Gourmande is a bit of a wimp. Don't you think? Do let me know. It's got a wimpy quality about it. It's not like big and beefy like tobacco honey. But not everything has to be big and beefy, does it? Add a comment below. So we've got Patchouli Paris here. This came out around the same time as my fragrance collaboration with Juicebox 54. And I kind of put this one aside because I kind of prefer that project more. But in the end, it's a nice solid patchouli. Not so super chocolatey. Actually really love this cap with the Paris on it. Also, I felt like it was a bit underwhelming with the intensity, but I think it's gotten a bit stronger now that I'm testing it out again. I could wear this. I love patchouli to begin with. Like I said, it's my favorite note. I did a top 10 favorite perfume notes video recently. If you haven't caught that, please catch it. Patchouli is definitely my favorite note, followed by vanilla. Patchouli is a bit more of a polarizing note. I don't know what it is. I think it's people associating the smell with body odor for some reason. It's not. It's to cover up the body odor. That's what hippies were doing. I love its earthiness. It's everything I like in a fragrance. So the projection, the intensity, the loudness, the longevity, the lingering power. Patchouli is fantastic. So we've got a couple of the extracts here. Iris Pallida extract 6, extrait 6 it says. I think the extracts, there's 6 of them. Is that correct? 5 of them or 6 of them? I think the extracts were of the most popular notes of Chanel. I'm sorry, Chanel. Why do I keep saying Chanel? Of Guerlain. So Iris is used quite a bit. You know, Tonka is used quite a bit. So they have the Tonka. But they got rid of the Tonka Imperial as soon as they launched the extracts, which was kind of disappointing. It's almost felt like they'd rather focus on the extract. The Iris is quite buttery, very rich, creamy, not so sweet. And Guerlain's known for sweet. This is not so sweet. It's very luxurious, I should say. Very decadent, but more in a savory way, not necessarily in a, sweet way. I think it's definitely pretty solid here. But again, Iris is a favorite note. It was number 9 in the video. I love Iris, thanks to Dior Homme Parfum. And then we've got Vanille Planifolia Extrait 21. I only have 2 of the Extrait. But the vanilla is so decadent, so yummy. Really long lasting as well. I really love the concentration of this fragrance. Oh. There's a caramelly nuance here. It's almost like slightly burned sugar turned into caramel with vanilla drippings all over it. That is decadent. Like that's like uber luxurious. But unfortunately, the extracts are so expensive. Get it while there's a promotion. I'm waiting for a promotion at Neiman Marcus, dollars off or discount, like percentage off. They haven't done one in months, I think. I want to buy a few things from there, but I'm not going to buy it. I'm not going to pay full retail because they never go on sale. I'm going to wait until that discount happens and I will buy. But between the two, Iris Pallida and Vanille Planifolia, I do prefer Vanille Planifolia. In fact, I can layer the two together to give it a bit of a more cutting of the sweetness of the vanilla and give it more of a buttery creaminess and powderiness. But that creates a really nuclear experience because they're both like really concentrated extracts. And then the last fragrance I'm going to talk to you about is from the L'Art et la Métier collection of fragrances that are on the cheaper side. I think they're more eau de toilette. I think that's what the concentration is. Yeah, they're eau de toilettes, and they're more musky fragrances, powdery fragrances. Eau de cashmere. So I once took a shopping trip client to the Neiman Marcus. I do those once in a while when people come in to do sniff sessions in the studio. They want to do a shopping trip as well. The customer or the client, she fell in love with a lot of these fragrances. She ended up buying 2 or 3 of them. And there's some really good ones. I bought this one to talk about it in a cashmere fragrances video. If you like cashmere in fragrances, it's a synthetic woody musky note. And it's paying tribute to it here. It's kind of woody, it's kind of spicy, very musky and powdery as well here. There's a slight tartness about it as well. There's another one in the collection, and I'm drawing a blank with the name. I kind of like that a little more. I think I need to pick that up. I would wear it. But these are also eau de toilette, so they're not as expensive as the regular L'Art et la Métier collection, but they're kind of in the same bottle. But this cap doesn't have the little, whatchamacallit that's on the other more expensive bottles, as you can see. So you've got this thing here in gold, but in the regular collection, it's in black. But here, there's none. So it's a cheaper kind of a collection, and the attention to detail is not there. But there are some great fragrances in that series. There's one that's super amazing. It's a powdery one. When the client bought, I fell in love with it at that time. But I haven't really dug into... there I go with Chanel again. I haven't really dug into Guerlain for a long time. I need to go back and see what's available. I didn't really even smell what is it called? Pêche Mirage. I kind of was not really into that fragrance. Is it quality? Do you guys like it? Let me know, add a comment below. But what do you guys think of this house after you've watched this very long video of a lot of the fragrances that I have here? Which one of these fragrances sounds great to you? Which one am I missing? Does anybody know where I can buy a bottle of Bois d'Harmonie, by the way? I really, really need a bottle. Tester is fine. Somewhat used is fine. But I kind of prefer to buy from an actual retailer just to make sure it's authentic and all that good stuff. But tell me what your thoughts are on the House of Guerlain. What are your favorite fragrances? Are any of the fragrances I discussed today favorites of yours? Do let me know. Do add a comment below. And thank you so much for watching today's video. This is a big, long video on the House of Guerlain, touching on classics, discontinued fragrances, vintage offerings, and of course, special limited editions like the Ganache that you can't get anymore. The brand is here under LVMH, obviously. I think they've been with LVMH since the 90s. So they're in it to make money. So I can understand why they constantly launch new fragrances and discontinue ones that are not selling. I didn't get the part about the Tonka Imperial when they discontinued it. I thought it was a very popular fragrance, but it makes sense. They probably did it because they launched an extract of it. They didn't want to have two Tonka-focused fragrances. But they have the Iris, and I think the Iri Torrefi is still selling, right? The Iri Torrefi is in the L'Art et la Métier collection, isn't it? So yeah, I don't know what makes Guerlain do these things. I don't know. But being under LVMH, they're in it for the money, I think. So they're going to sell things that sell more and discontinue things that they don't sell at all. But do let me know what's missing in my collection. What should I pick up? Is the Tonka in the extract good? Is the bergamot in the extract good? So is there also a rose and a jasmine? Is that it? Can't remember now. But what's missing in the collection? Anything from the L'Art et la Métier collection? The one I really want is Herbe Troublante. I think that's what it's called. Oh my God, that smells so good. I've come back to that fragrance so many times when it was in different bottles, and finally it's in, I think it's in the L'Art et la Métier collection now. Herbes Troublantes is so good. It's an aromatic, herbal, freshy. One of the best smells. And I don't know why I don't have it, but I always feel like it's so overpriced for what you get. But once again, it smells so good to have to justify the price. But let me know if there's anything that's missing that I should have in the collection, as long as they are currently selling. And also, what should I look for in vintage fragrances? I know they had those collection of these kind of bottles, men's fragrances. I think Derby was in it. Do they even sell those anymore? Have they moved over to the L'Art et la Métier collection? But I think La Frenchie is in this collection, but I think it's called something different now. I think it's in the L'Art et la Métier collection. So any of the men's fragrances that had these kind of bottles move over there. Do let me know, guys. Add a comment below what I should pick up. And I'll be going back to France here at the end of June. I'll be there for about 2.5 weeks. And if I can't find a bottle of Bois d'Harmonie, I'm going to have to look for it over there. And I'm hoping I can find a bottle. The reason I really want a bottle, I want a bottle of Bois d'Harmonie because it has a bit of a meaning for me, because Bois d'Harmonie means Armenian wood. So I'm Armenian by blood, and it's inspired by the Papier d'Harmonie, Armenian paper. And I think that's been a long-standing, the incense papers for a long time in France. I wasn't familiar with it prior to that. And so when I find out that that's the inspiration, it was the greatest inspiration, great work by Annick Menardo, and the connection of my culture with that, fragrance and the incense papers. Now that it's discontinued, I really definitely need to have one like this in the large 200 ml bottle. But I appreciate you tuning in today to watch this almost 2-hour-long video. Thanks so much for tuning in, as I said. Let me know what other houses you want me to cover like this in very long format. Add a comment below. Again, this video is hardly edited, just cutting out some of the blank spaces. No titles, no photos, nothing. Just me talking about the fragrances. If there's any other brands you want me to cover, do let me know what brands you want to see. Add a comment below. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please do list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye. Okay, I thought I'd shoot a little bonus section in this video as well, because after I cleared this table and was putting stuff away, I found Habit Rouge dress code. And guess what? I also find a few others that I did not talk about. I did have a L'Instant de Guerlain Pour Homme in Eau de Parfum here in the old bottle. Yes, but not in the... Wait, this is the Eau de Toilette, actually, come to think of it. So I don't have it in the current bottle. And I think the Eau de Toilette is no longer. But I also found an Eau de Parfum in a bottle like this for Habit Rouge, not Heritage. There's so many different fragrances, I'm kind of getting, confused a bit. But let's talk about dress code first, because I made a big point about dress code, not finding it, and I finally found it. Sometimes when there's a lot of fragrances, it kind of gets lost because you're looking through them, and it didn't have a box, obviously, and all that good stuff. So finally found it. So this is Eau de Parfum, and the new Habit Rouge Parfum, obviously, is Parfum concentration. This does give me the vibe of the Habit Rouge Parfum, but this is a bit thinner, not as beefy, but I find it also, even though this is like a gourmand take on Habit Rouge, the Parfum is a bit more of a gourmand, but also boozy, and also the patchouli in there is so super sexy. And so I like what they've done here with this, and it was kind of like a precursor to what they gave us almost 10 years later. But I have this. This is the very first dress code. I believe the one that came after this was, I think, the same smell, but the bottle was black with reddish, tones on it. I think they took the label and they made kind of the same color scheme of the label into the bottle, mostly black, but I think this color scheme was all over the next edition, which I never bought. I have this, and I also have one backup of dress code, and from 2016, I believe, when this came out. So it's great, but we have the Parfum now, and the Parfum is so super awesome. But let's talk about the L'Instant de Guerlain Pour Homme in Eau de Toilette. So I showed you I put that bottle away, but I showed you the bottle with the brown rims. There used to be a similar bottle, larger, without the brown rim around it. That was the Eau de Toilette. And I actually had a bottle of that. Unfortunately, I gave it to somebody because somebody was, an attorney that I knew was giving me free advice, and they fell in love with it. And I felt like, okay, this would be a gift for them because I got free advice and things like that. And they ended up with my bottle of L'Instant de Guerlain Pour Homme, not Eau Extrême. So this is the version after it went into this uniform bottle. It is fresher. It's much fresher. It doesn't have that deep chocolatey kind of cacao thing as much. So you can wear this a little more easily when it's warmer outside. I mean, it reminds you of the original, but it's still a great smell, by the way. I love this. It's great. It's an eau de toilette, but I think it's been macerating in this bottle for a while, so it's gotten a bit thicker. It's reminding me more of the OG, but more of the OG in the Eau de Parfum in this version. So when the original had come out, it was Eau de Toilette, and they had the Pour Homme Eau Extrême, and then they just basically moved it into this bottle, and the Eau de Parfum just became, Pour Homme Eau de Parfum, no Eau Extrême. But this is one of the best in the series, I think, one of the best from Guerlain. Again, as I was saying, this is the fragrance that really got me into doing videos on YouTube. It's all about that Uber ride. The black car we took to go to a Thanksgiving dinner, and the Uber driver was wearing L'Instant de Guerlain Pour Homme Eau Extrême. And if we weren't able to exchange phone numbers, because that's how Uber was, they were all black cars in 2011, and you can, communicate with your driver. If you didn't send me that photo, I probably would not be here doing videos. Who knows? And then let's talk a little bit about the Eau de Parfum here of Habit Rouge. For a long time, I think it was the Eau de Toilette that I was, no, it's Heritage we were talking about. For a long time, I was really loving the Eau de Parfum, but I think then I switched over to the Eau de Toilette, and I was showing you the larger bottle. To me, it had a lot more projection, and it was a bit more citrusier. This one does go deeper, and it's a bit more leatherier. But, you know, it's that classic men's fragrance that Guerlain launched originally in the 60s, later redid in the early 2000s, that still doesn't go out of style. I've known people that have worn this, dad's friends and relatives and just people I've known that are much older than me that wore Habit Rouge. And smelling it on them probably got me used to the smell, because I don't recall my dad ever wearing Habit Rouge. But it is definitely one of the most iconic men's fragrances. And later on in the years, it's gotten more and more better for me. For me, it was more about VETIVER over Habit Rouge. But I guess the older I get, the more I like Habit Rouge. Go figure that. But again, very long-standing fragrance from the House of Guerlain. Glad that it's still around, and probably the one that is the most popular in this collection of men's fragrances from Guerlain. I don't think it's the most popular. I think L'Homme Ideal series is the most popular. But the fact that Habit Rouge has so many flankers coming out, and also Terry Wasser wears it, I think they're going to crank these fragrance flankers out. Let's see what they do with the Habit Rouge next time. It's after the Rouge Privé, the Parfum, and the Spirit. What's coming next? We'll find out as soon as they announce something. Well, all right, guys, I've got a few more fragrances I'm going to talk to you about that I've actually found. And I was going through my entire collection. When you have a large collection of fragrances, and I think we're at around 90 bottles of Guerlain fragrances, whether they're discontinued, vintage, and current on the market fragrances, you get. I gotta make a list. I think I have to put together a list to know what I have, so I don't forget it in the future. Because I also do have a lot of fragrances spread out all over the place. Some in this corner, some over there with the vintages, yada yada. So I do have to have a document made. But I did uncover 4 more bottles here. 3 more bottles here. The first one I remembered when I was putting the video together, so I am shooting this just before I'm going to upload the video. This is Cologne du 68. Oh my god, this was such an awesome find back, I think going back to around 2013 is when I ordered it. I smelled it at Neiman Marcus, really enjoyed its freshness but with powdery touches, and ended up buying it. So they discontinued it, and then they launched this in a Eau de Parfum for the Art et la Métier in a different name, but I think it does have the name, the word 68 in it. But I don't know if it's still in existence, but this one is so awesome, guys. If you've tried this, maybe you are a fan of it. I think I have one more bottle of this one. But so basically, it's a citrus. It's a lot of citruses, and it's the juicy citrus fruits, and then also the leaves and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot going in here. It's pretty complex, but there's a major powdery effect happening. And I'm surprised how good this smells. I mean, I've had it for 12 years, and it still smells amazing. Because I keep my fragrances in a lot of cool places. Sure, some do turn, but this one is in perfect condition, and it smells so awesome. I'm picking up the juiciness of the citruses, but it's almost like you have this like juice of some kind of a citrus, and you've sprinkled it with some kind of a powder. So you're getting the balance of something very juicy and wet, but also the powder kind of mixing together. But it's quite green. It's a citrus floral, and just there's a lot of green vegetation type notes in here. I think it was one of the best offerings from Guerlain. Sadly, I got it towards the end of its life, and they launched it in the Art et la Métier collection with a slightly different name, and I don't know if it's still in existence. If you guys know, let me know. The next 2 fragrances I'm going to talk to you about is my whatever amount of juice I have left in the L'Homme Ideal Sport. As you can see right there, hardly any. And then whatever amount of juice I have left in the L'Homme Ideal Cologne. Hardly any. And I didn't want to get a backup bottle of the Sport. I didn't care for it. I wish I found a backup bottle of the cologne. I haven't found it. But this is the chance now to compare it to the L'Homme Ideal Platine Privé. And I don't even know if the Platine Privé is selling. Is it selling, guys? I don't remember. But let's spray the Platine Privé. And I guess if I'm not going to ever have the L'Homme Ideal cologne, it's okay. But this is a good opportunity to compare the two together. So what I liked about the cologne was it had that almondy tonka thing happening, but it was quite fresh and it was very easy to wear. And I feel like it was taking a pretty decent DNA. I guess the L'Homme Ideal, again, as I was mentioning in the video, it wasn't one of my favorite collections, but I really loved the cologne and what they did with it. I know it was very light, very easy to wear, and I like that slight warmth with the almondy bitterness, the tonka-ish touches, with the freshness of the lemoniness. It's also powdery. I think it worked really great. But let's see if it... You know, I'm getting a slight similarity to it. Are they identical? Probably not. Sort of similar. So with these two, there's also a slight soapiness. I think the Platine Privé will pass if you are looking for the cologne, but I haven't been keeping up with a lot of the Guerlain fragrances, so I don't know if this one is still selling. This came out... Did it come out at the same time Rouge Privé came out? Yeah, I think it came out around the time that the Rouge Privé came out. So that's why it's got Platine Privé and Rouge Privé. Between the two, the Rouge Privé is awesome from Habit Rouge. But this is the L'Homme Ideal Platine Privé. And yeah, I get the similarities to the cologne. The cologne I wore so much of, but again, I only have just a little bit left. I don't want to use up more of it. And the last fragrance, until I talk about one other fragrance from a non-Guerlain brand, this is L'Homme Ideal Sport. Now, I mentioned earlier I didn't have my bottle, but I was able to find it eventually. So it wasn't a favorite offering, but I wore quite a bit of it. I really loved the dry down. The dry down had a patchouli base. You just had to get through the top that had that marine seaweed cologne thing happening, which turned me off a bit. But the dry down was quite amazing. It was not like the most amazing fragrance, but for me, it was all about the dry down. I know there were fans of this one. And then those fans, I think, are the ones that can tolerate, the marine fragrances and things like that. But for me, it wasn't one of the best fragrances, but really enjoyed the dry down. For me, it was all about that kind of nutty tonka almond thing with a lot of patchouli. And the dry down, I liked a lot because it was super sexy, I felt. Once you get past the marine touches of the top. So those are the three fragrances I just found. This one I think is very important. I don't know why I completely forgot about that one, but I was going through all my vintage fragrances again. It was like right there. I'm like, oh, okay. I better talk about that one. But before I wrap up, I do want to let you guys know there is a fragrance from the house of Maître Parfum Gantier called Parfum de Habit. Are you guys familiar with it? Parfum de Habit. So what's Guerlain's Habit Rouge called? Habit Rouge. So Parfum de Habit and Habit Rouge. So I feel like Parfum de Habit, I think, launched in 1988 when the brand came out, or somewhere around there when the Maître Parfum Gantier launched. And I feel like it's definitely something in the vein of Habit Rouge. But I feel like if you're someone that likes the idea of Habit Rouge and you tried Rouge Privé, it went way too leathery and animalic, but you also think the EDT or the EDP or even the Parfum is too vanillic, you've got a really nice balance of it here with Parfum de Habit from the house of Maître Parfum Gantier. It's so good. It's so smooth. And the more I wear it, the more it reminds me of Habit Rouge, but it's almost like a balance of it, There's plenty of leather, but nicely balanced with anything vanillic and sweet. So you don't have too much sweetness or you don't have too much leather. It's a perfect balance of it. It's also not so modernized. It's a bit classic, which I quite like. So it's a bit, you know, classic style, a bit vintage-esque. And to me, it's so, so awesome. Again, for me and my nose, the leather is not so strong. I just think it's a perfect balance, and it will remind you of Habit Rouge or something similar in that vein, leathery, kind of vanillic, ambery, and so forth. So awesome. If you haven't tried Parfum de Habit, please do. Again, if you don't like Habit Rouge because it's too vanillic, and you don't like Rouge Privé because it's too leathery, and you kind of want something in between, I think that will satisfy. Anyway, that's all I have for you in this big, long video. And stay tuned for another one of these videos very soon. And don't forget to let me know which brand you want me to do like this. Add a comment below. I was thinking of L'Artisan Parfumeur. What do you guys think? I have a huge collection of L'Artisan Parfumeur vintage fragrances that I keep away stored. And of course, whatever's currently selling, I can go. And I don't have everything from the current rotation of their line, but I have plenty, and of course, plenty of discontinued or vintage fragrances that I know Bertrand Duchaufour created quite a bit of them. If you caught my video with him, speaking to him about L'Entrepiste, some of those fragrances totally can fit in the L'Artisan line. Anyway, let me know what brand you want me to do like this long format video. Add a comment below, and see you guys later. Bye-bye.